Now, highlights of the findings. In 2016, the printing and importation of 5 billion Liberian dollar banknotes was authorized by the national legislature through resolutions issued by both House of Representatives and House of Senate. However, the contract between the Central Bank of Liberia and Crane Currency AB, an American currency printing company with offices in Sweden, to print an initial 5 billion new Liberian dollar banknotes, was consummated prior to the legislative authorization. So what we're saying is that even before they were authorized, they already consummated the contract. So they acted before they even got authorization. The central bank did not abide by international best practice for selecting and contracting Crane Currency to print the new Liberian dollar banknote. In 2017, the printing and importation of an additional 10 billion Liberian dollar banknote was not authorized by the national legislature. That is, did not get the authorization at all. The Central Bank of Liberia relied on a letter dated July 19, 2017 from the national legislature and a resolution of the Board of Governors of the Central Bank of Liberia to print and import the additional 10 billion Liberian dollar banknotes. That means normally the legislature will do a resolution, like in this case they rely on a letter and the Board of Directors. So the investigation found out that the July 19, 2017 letter from the national legislature did not constitute an authorization. And also, the Board of Governors does not have the mandate to approve and or authorize the printing and importation of currency banknotes. Therefore, the $10 billion was not authorized. The Central Bank of Liberia also did not apprise Her Excellency Mara Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, former President of the Republic of Liberia, of the final decision to print and import the additional 10 billion Liberian dollar banknote as was requested by her. She requested that when you finish with everything, please let me know. But unfortunately, she was not apprised. Meanwhile, the contract between the Central Bank of Liberia and Crane Currency to print the additional 10 billion Liberian dollar banknotes was consummated prior to the attempt to obtain legislative authorization and the Board of Governors resolution. So once again, they already started contracting before they even attempted to ask for the authorization, which was not given. And let me emphasize on the issue of missing container. The investigation found out that there was no container full of money that was missing. Rather, there were 10 shipments of printed materials, as they call it, that is the new Liberian banknotes, in 24 containers, 20 foot in size, between September 7, 2016 and March 25, 2018. All the containers containing the new Liberian dollar banknotes printed and shipped by Crane Currency were duly received by the Central Bank of Liberia and put in their reserve vault. Let me also add that it's not only containers. Some of the banknotes also came at the airport through plane. Now we finish with continuing business. In 2016, the total amount of 5,146,000,000 250,000 new Liberian banknotes printed and shipped by clean currency was received by the Central Bank of Liberia. That is to say, the amount of 146,250,000 Liberian dollar banknotes were printed in excess of the 5 billion authorized by the national legislature and contracted for by the Central Bank of Liberia. So they printed more. In 2016, the contract between the Central Bank of Liberia and clean currency to print the 5 billion Liberian dollar banknotes was valued at 5,210,000 United States dollars. However, the Central Bank of Liberia paid clean currency a total of 5,611,469 US dollar and 58 cents instead of the contracted amount of 5,210,000 United States dollars, resulting into an overpayment of US $401,469.58. This overpayment was not authorized by the national legislature and was paid outside the terms and conditions of the contract. The Central Bank of Liberia did not provide any amendment to the contract or any document to justify the overpayment. In 2017 and 2018, the total amount of 10,359,750,000 Liberian dollar banknote printed and shipped by clean currency was received by the Central Bank of Liberia. The amount of 359,750,000 Liberian dollar banknote was printed in excess of the 10 billion Liberian dollar banknote contracted for by the Central Bank of Liberia. In 2017, the Central Bank of Liberia contracted clean currency to print the 10 billion Liberian dollar banknote at a contract value of 10,121,689 United States dollars and 20 United States cents. However, the Central Bank of Liberia paid clean currency a total of United States $10,555,587.34 instead of the contracted amount of $10,121,689.20, resulting again into an overpayment of $433,898 United States dollar and 14 cents. This overpayment, once again, was not authorized by the national legislature and was paid outside the terms and conditions of the contract. The Central Bank of Liberia did not provide any amendment to the contract or any document to justify the overpayment. In 2017, the entire transaction involving the printing and shipment of the 10 billion Liberian dollar banknote was not authorized by the national legislation. As such, the total cost of US $10,555,587.34 incurred by the Central Bank of Liberia for the printing of the total of Liberian dollar 10,359,750,000 was also not authorized. So what is not done legally is not done at all. So therefore, the total amount that was paid was not correct. Now, let me emphasize again that the central bank did receive and place in their vault a total of 15,506,000,000 Liberian dollar banknote. Though the Central Bank of Liberia reported 15,506,000,000 Liberian dollar banknote as the total amount printed and shipped by Crane Currency and received by the Central Bank of Liberia between July 2016 and April 2018, the investigation's analysis of the packing list submitted by the Central Bank of Liberia revealed that the amount of 18,151,000,000 Liberian dollar banknote was printed and shipped by Crane Currency. This leaves a variance of 2,645,000,000 Liberian dollar banknotes that is yet to be fully accounted for by the Central Bank of Liberia. So while it is true that 15.5 billion were received and in the vault and accounted for, the packing list and all the other documentation and the analysis thereof shows that there was over 18 billion, creating the variance of 2.6 billion that is yet to be accounted for. Now, 25 million mop-up. As of October 16, 2018, the Central Bank of Liberia sold, again I repeat, as of October 16, 2018, the Central Bank of Liberia sold a total of 14 million United States dollars in exchange for a total of 151,363,898 Liberian dollar to September 18, 2018. The technical team of the Economic Management Team, TEMT, did not have a clear strategy. And the Central Bank of Liberia deviated from conventional best practices, which calls for the use of legitimate banking institutions, that is commercial banks, and licensed foreign exchange bureau or sale auction. Instead, the TEMT and the Central Bank of Liberia carry out the sale of United States dollar directly to foreign exchange bureau and businesses in the marketplace. There was no standard criteria set for the participation of those foreign exchange bureaus and businesses in terms of their legitimacy. That is to say, whether they were duly registered and or whether they were tax compliant and other things that are required in such process. Nor was there due diligence associated with the direct sale in the marketplace. In addition to that, the principle of know your customer, in short KYC, was not observed throughout the mop-up exercise. Going forward, the Central Bank of Liberia did not provide evidence of performing a competitive bidding process for the selection of a company to print the Liberian dollar bank notes contracted for. Though exempted from the Public Procurement Concession Act of 2005, Section 1(3)(b) for procurement related to the production of currency or coins, does not negate the fact that the Central Bank of Liberia should observe international best practice in selecting a printer for the printing of Liberian banknotes, as well as its own internal processes. Now, we get to the highlights of the recommendations. Those were the findings. Now we get to the recommendations. Given the many discrepancies as to the total and actual amount of new Liberian dollar banknote printed, shipped and received by the Central Bank of Liberia, thereby creating doubts as to the total amount of Liberian dollar banknote in circulation, as well as the negative impact said discrepancies are having on the economy, the investigation recommends the demonetization of the current Liberian dollar banknote, both the new ones and the legacy banknote, to be demonetized. That's the recommendation of the investigation. Former and current senior management executives of the Central Bank of Liberia were found in violation of various laws of the Republic of Liberia in the discharge of their duties in the following ways. 1. Endorsing the printing of the extra 146,250,000 Liberian dollar banknote above the approved amount of 5 billion Liberian dollar banknote, and thereby incurring an extra cost of 401,469 United States dollar and 58 cents without authorization from the Liberian legislature. 2. Endorsing the printing of 359,750,000 Liberian dollar banknote above the contracted amount of 10 billion Liberian dollar banknote, and thereby incurring an extra cost of 433,898 United States dollar and 14 cents without authorization from the Liberian legislature. 3. Not obtaining the full authorization of the national legislature for the printing of 10 billion Liberian dollar banknote, resulting to a total cost of United States $10,555,587.34 for the printing of 10,359,750,000. And 4, failure to report and account for the amount of $2,645,000,000 Liberian dollar banknote, which is the difference between the 18,151,000,000 Liberian dollar banknote discovered from the packing list as the total amount of Liberian dollar banknotes printed and shipped to Liberia, and that of the 15,506,000,000 Liberian dollar banknote that was reported by the Central Bank of Liberia as the total amount printed, shipped, and received by the Central Bank of Liberia. Several middle management executives of the Central Bank of Liberia were found in violation of the laws of the Republic of Liberia in the discharge of their duties in the following ways. 1. Ensuring full receipt and accountability of the total and actual amount of Liberian dollar banknote printed and received by the Central Bank of Liberia. 2. Knowingly conspiring with the former and current senior management executive mentioned earlier of the Central Bank of Liberia to conceal the true nature of the total and actual amount of Liberian dollar banknotes printed and received by the Central Bank of Liberia. And 3, criminally doctoring or fixing reports understating the full and actual amount printed and received by the Central Bank of Liberia. Now we get out of Liberia. Queen Currency AB of Sweden contracted by the Central Bank of Liberia in separate contracts to print the total of 15 billion Liberian dollar banknote at the total cost of 15,331,689 United States dollar and 20 United States cents, violated the laws of the Republic of Liberia as follows. 1. Queen Currency knowingly and willfully conspired with officials of the Central Bank of Liberia to defraud the government of Liberia. 2. Queen Currency ignored the terms and conditions of the printing of the contract, rather. I read that again. Queen Currency ignored the terms and conditions of the contract by printing 18,151,000,000 Liberian dollar banknotes in complete breach of the contract. And 3, Queen Currency caused the government of Liberia to incur extra costs of $835,367 United States dollar and 72 United States cents. $25 million. Given the many discrepancies noted in the manner in which the mop-up exercise was conducted in relation to the infusion of the 25 million United States dollar into the Liberian economy, and given the scope, time, and financial resource limitation encountered by the investigators, the PIT, the investigation recommends that the technical economic management team and the Central Bank of Liberia put a complete halt to the exercise. In addition to that, the PIT recommends that a forensic investigation of the entire MOPA exercise be conducted without delays. Also, given the many discrepancies observed during the investigation in relation to the operations of the Central Bank of Liberia in executing its statutory mandate, there is a need to review the standard operational procedures, banking supervision, and internal controls of the Central Bank to curb the possibility of abuse of the money supply of our nation, as well as enhancing efficiency and productivity. And to further protect our currency banknotes that is in reserve, the Central Bank of Liberia should consider discontinuing the use of the vault at the saving bank down Waterside. Thank you for listening to me.